What's up, everybody? Armchair Quarterbacks here for another Week 11 preview. On this one, we have Jacks on, Jacks off versus Cup My Team into Pieces. That is Shawn with a current projected score of 98.46 to Daniel's 96.84. So, taking a look at these starting rosters currently as of Wednesday night, Shawn has Lamar Jackson, Devontae Adams, Jamar Chase, Aaron Jones, Kareem Hunt, Mark Andrews, Mike Evans, and Debo Samuel. All right, so really quick, taking a look here, we were talking about you were talking about before thinking Aiden O'Connell was a pretty decent upside game play here up against Miami. How do you feel about Devontae Adams going up against Miami?
I mean, any wide receiver going up against Miami, I'm happy to play. Um, you know, I mean, the only question mark with Miami is typically they've looked like a fake good team
Yeah.
when it comes to playing, either a Buffalo or like a Kansas City type. Um, Las Vegas is not Buffalo, and Las Vegas is not Kansas City, so Miami's going to be able to put up points here. They don't have the best defense in return. Um, Devontae Adams should be pretty decent here, especially Aiden O'Connell. He is. We've seen him check down to Josh Jacobs, which shows that he has more poise. He knows when to play it safe and when to kind of
Yeah, he's at
be
least
a little
going
bit more
through his
aggressive.
progressions.
Yeah. He's not gonna pull, a Jameis Winston, have one, one look at the deep shot and then that's it. Just chuck it. He's not tunnel focused. So
Yeah. The only
uh,
concern that I have with Devonte Adams, Aiden O'Connell is just Aiden O'Connell seems to be force feeding Devonte Adams, whether or not he's in single coverage, double coverage, triple coverage.
mhm.
There were a few plays I saw last week up against the Jets where Devonte Adams had some double coverage on it was like one on the outside, and then you had
Mhm.
Jacoby Myers or even Hunter Renfro, even or who's their tight end, Michael Mayer, kind of
Mhm.
running a crossing route or an in route, and either the defense is playing single man coverage and they got blown out, they lost the route already, or they were playing zone and they were like 5 yards back, way off of the player, and Aiden O'Connell still force fed it to Devontae Adams. So that was the only concern that I had with it with both of these guys. But I mean, going up against Miami, if you force feed Devontae Adams, I think that'll produce this week at least. So let's take a look here. Jamar Chase up against Baltimore. That'll be a pretty tough matchup here. How do you think he's gonna fare? Last week he had the back injury, but he still played pretty well. Do you think he's gonna play pretty decently this week?
He'll be fine. Um, George, Joe Burrow looks healthy, so he was able to move around. He's able to, to scramble. Um, at this point with Jamar Chase, it's just a pain tolerance issue. He's had another week to kind of, rest up. So, I mean, there's not even any reports here that he is limited today in practice.
Yeah,
And
very
typically you
interesting.
see that with, yeah, some of the veteran guys. You'll see the Wednesday dudes day where they didn't practice
Mm,
or they're limited, and we don't even see that here for Jamar Chase, which is a good sign.
yeah. Oh, he's looking good to go. I agree. Aaron Jones. Do you still start Aaron Jones here? I mean, he's had a pretty down season. He's had maybe two games that looked pretty good. The rest of them pretty kind of eh. How do you feel with Aaron Jones?
I mean, um, for Sean's team, Jonathan Taylor's on bye, so unless if you really hate Aaron Jones, you could play Latavius Murray or Tajay Spears. Um, at this point, you kind of forced to play with him, and there's worse guys out here, especially against the Chargers right now. This is fine. Um, just keep expectations low with Jordan Love and Green Bay.
Agreed. All right, so here's another Cleveland offensive piece here. Kareem Hunt. With Deshaun Watson being out, I think that the Cleveland Browns will utilize the run game a little bit more. Jerome Ford, he's going to look really good being utilized in the run game. Do you think Kareem Hunt will get a little bit more usage now, though?
For my sake, hopefully not. But Kareem Hunt has been getting, at least the past couple of games, he's been getting the inside the 5, the on the goal line work, which is kind of opposite of what he used to get. Before he got let go, he was the one for the 2-minute drill and for the
Third down
passing
pace.
downs or the change of pace. Yeah, and Nick Chubb was the one to get the goal line.
Yeah.
So it's kind of weird to see him be consider the goal line, at least for the past couple of games, and Jerome Ford is the Kareem Hunt role where he's getting all the passing work. So we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, definitely very interesting there. Mark Andrews, you're going to start him. If you don't start him up against Cincinnati, there's something wrong with you. If you don't start Mark Andrews in general, something wrong with you. Mike Evans, tough matchup here up against San Francisco, at least in terms of the pass rush. But I think he should be fine. He's got the limited injury today. I believe last week he came up from a catch, kind of holding his leg, kind of limping a little bit. But yeah, I don't know. I how do you feel with Mike Evans? Pretty much auto start rest of the year.
I wouldn't say auto start, but I mean, as long as he's fully healthy, then yeah, you roll with him. So nothing much to think there. San Fran is going to be tough, so maybe
Definitely
just upside.
Definitely not an auto start. I'm looking at the rest of season schedule. After this week 11, it starts to get pretty tough. Indianapolis, Carolina, Atlanta, Green Bay, Jacksonville, New Orleans. It does for the wide receiver position. It starts to get a little bit tough. But speaking of the Tampa Bay San Francisco game, we have Deebo Samuel here. San Francisco game here, we're gonna have it's gonna be one of the 4 pieces. How do you feel about Adam Thielen though, sitting on his bench here? Carolina up against Dallas. It's a tough matchup, but do you think Bryce Young is up to the challenge to try and keep pace? I mean, they're obviously gonna they're gonna get down in the points here. They're gonna have to try and catch up. So do you think they can keep pace?
Nope. I believe, let's see, Carolina, let's see, that's Ron Rivera, right? Or is that Frank Reich?
Frank Reich.
It's Ron Rivera.
Ron Rivera went
Frank
to
Reich?
Washington. Frank Reich.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Miles Sanders.
Yeah, and he's taking Frank Reich has taken over play calling because they just fired their OC.
Yep.
So, but either way, I mean, I'm not trusting Bryce Young with that. You're still going to start Deebo Samuel over him. I think there's greater upside there. The Mike Evans one, you're still going to start him because at least with Mike Evans, you're going to say he's got better skill than Thielen. And at that point, even though it's Baker Mayfield is still the better quarterback. Adams and Chase, your auto starts there. So yeah, Thielen just by default right now with Sean's depth here on wide receiver. Yeah, but this definitely I could see him being on the bench.
Yeah, especially the way the past couple of weeks have been panning out for him. Not the most efficient.
I would say that, because we only have a couple days left until the trade deadline. I thought about making another offer. I wanted to make an offer for Jamar Chase here, but just because I'm looking for wide receiver and, if Shawn needs, it looks like he's pretty strong at wide receiver. My only tip would be, maybe look at upgrading on the running back here. You have Jonathan Taylor and Kareem Hunt and Aaron Jones, but I don't know how much you could depend on either a Kareem Hunt or an Aaron Jones here. So just something to look at.
Yeah, I agree. All right, so let's move over here to Daniel's team. Currently starting Kyler Murray, Cooper Cup, Rashid Rice, who he picked up when I dropped him, Saquon Barkley, Tony Pollard, George Kittle, James Cook, and Devin Singletary. Interesting here that he's starting Kyler Murray over Joe Burrow. I think that's a pretty decent decision here. Kyler Murray playing up against Houston, I think they should be able to kind of go back and forth there. Versus Cincinnati, Baltimore, that should be a lower scoring game. Would you? How do you feel about that? Would you start Murray or Joe Burrow?
For me, that's a toss up. For me personally, I would probably go with Kyler Murray. I'm assuming Fantasy Pros and all of the other rankings is probably going to say Joe Burrow though. So
I mean,
be interesting to see.
the good thing with Kyler Murray is he has the rushing game. You know, he runs, even though he looks like a little kid, he runs the ball. Joe Burrow,
Mm-hmm.
he's a pocket passer, so Kyler Murray's more the scrambler type
Let's
quarterback where you'll
see.
get points.
Actually, right now you got Fantasy Pros 83% for Kyler Murray. Let's look at the footballers.
Who should I start?
Same thing. Kyler Murray. 12 to 13, 12 to 13, 9 to 13, 11 to 13. It's close enough. So they're basically back to back with Kyler Murray a little bit higher. And that's specifically because, like you said, that's against Houston. So you're probably going to see a higher scoring game there versus Cincinnati against Baltimore, where it's more run heavy on Baltimore if they have it their way. And then they have a better defense too.
Yeah, for sure. I just pulled up the who should I start on Fantasy Pros. Um, yeah, I mean both quarterbacks are playing in away games, but the matchup rating is better for Kyler Murray. Um, look here, passing touchdowns allowed. Houston has they're saying 1 versus Baltimore 0.7. Yeah, it's for sure looking like it's skewing towards Kyler Murray. I'm looking at expert ranks here, so it's just a whole bunch of people. Like here's your Thorman from ETR established the run. He's ranking Kyler Murray number 10 on the week versus Joe Burrow at number 15 on the week. So yeah, I think again this is a pretty smart start here with Kyler Murray over Joe Burrow. How do you feel with Cooper Cup? Cooper Cup's got Matt Stafford coming back. Obviously we're not sure how Matt Stafford looks, but if he's playing, and you said it before, they played Cooper Cup's injury pretty smart. How do you feel with Matt Stafford coming back and Cooper Cup connection?
I think Cooper Cup will be fine. I actually was tempted. I still might hit up Daniel, see. I don't know if he would be willing to trade Cooper Cup. Just because Cooper Cup hasn't had the best, past couple games.
Hmm.
And it's funny because even the projection here for Yahoo still has him at 16. Which is really where they just give it to him based on reputation versus what he's actually done.
Well, I mean,
Especially if
when you look at his game log, his stat line here, when he came back from his injury in week 5 and week 6, he was fully healthy. The whole team was fully healthy, and he was scoring pretty decently. 16 points in his opening game, his season debut, 26.3 points
right.
in the next game after that. And then week 7, that's when Stafford started to get banged up. Stafford was dealing with like a shoulder injury, week 7, 8, and then week 9 he had the thumb. So it was one of those things where it's like it's kind of rough. Week 7 was when Stafford had the thumb, and then I think it was 8 and 9 when what's his name, Brett Rippon came in, right? So
Mhm.
that I think that's the correlation there. I think with Matt Stafford back, he'll be fine. They've got that
We'll
connection.
see.
I mean,
I
they've got that connection, so it'll be fine for him as long as Matt Stafford's healthy, of course.
They do, but you got to remember his upside is capped um now that they've kind of discovered Puka
Puka,
Nakua.
yeah.
So that's your boy right there. And I noticed that sometimes they'll both feast, but with my boy Kyron Williams coming back also now, and he was getting. I mean, before he got injured, he was getting 100% of the snaps, which was insane. So we'll see. I mean, they're good. Like I said in the previous one of the previous videos, I think that no matter what, Cooper Cup and Matt Stafford are going to be out there, especially they're older. They want to get either the Hall of Fame type status, veteran dudes. They have pride in being out there. So I think Cooper Cup will be fine.
Let's move on here. Interesting that Daniel is currently starting Rashee Rice after picking him up from waivers when I dropped him to pick up Michael Carter. How do you feel with Rashee Rice in this start here for Daniel?
He's just another guy, a jag. Basically, all you have on Kansas City is Patrick Mahomes, Justin,
Travis Kelce,
or Travis Kelce, and that's pretty much it, man. I mean, you might have a Pacheco, but it's pretty much all gonna funnel through Travis Kelce. So at this point, it might be Rashee Rice. Who knows? Sky Moore could come up with one. They have Mecole Hardman back now. They have Kadarius Toney for whatever reason. They still, are fascinated with him, even though he's not the greatest thing. So
I mean,
at that point, whatever is in.
I'll give my thought process on this. When I picked up Rashee Rice, I think it was early season, like week 3, 4, somewhere around there. There were rumblings. There was a lot of talk that Rashee Rice, he was starting to build rapport with Patrick Mahomes, and it's looking like that rapport is gonna produce. He's being efficient with his usage, and he might see more field time, some more play. That talk happened for several weeks, and then in the past few weeks, it's kind of died off. So, not necessarily something I want to hold on to if the usage doesn't continue to increase. I mean, if you look at his target share, it's pretty much been consistent and static at 5 targets per game. Not the best if you're trying to look for a starter there. That's more so putting him in like the wide receiver 3, low end wide receiver 2 range. All right, so let's talk about Saquon Barkley. He's pretty much the only option for the Giants. How do you feel about him the rest of season?
Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Bro, you got 3 days. Unload this sucker. That's all I'm gonna say.
All right, that's fair.
He deals with his high ankle sprains. He's prone to it. They're on one of the worst offenses in the league.
Very injured offense.
No help. They got no quarterback. They're rolling out with Danny DeVito now. Danny DeVito is what we call him. Nah, bro. He done. Even Waller, he's at the beginning stages of his healing process. The hell out of here.
For
This
those not
offense
in
is
the loop,
done.
Sean's referring to New York Giants backup to the backup quarterback, Tommy DeVito. So
They done, dude.
yeah,
Yep.
agreed.
You can't even blame Brian Dable. And funny thing is,
No.
I keep saying it. It'd be funny to have him come back to Buffalo, where Josh Allen has been struggling kind of since he left.
Yeah. And you mentioned he's always dealing with ankle injuries. Limited again today in practice with an ankle injury. So, all right. I mean,
And the schedule's not good too.
no,
So
it's not.
The schedule's not good, and it's a bad offense. So
All right. So Tony Pollard, we already brought him up in a previous video talking about, they're going to want to. It's been a rough season for him so far. This is one of his last chances to get the run game going. Yeah, it's rough. You just kind of have to ride it out here unless you can find a trade partner for Tony Pollard. George Kittle, pretty much the same thing all season. Boom bust games here with the San Fran offense. James Cook hasn't looked the best as of late. I mean, the last game up against Denver, he had a pretty decent game, but again, that's up against Denver. They give up a ton of points to the running back here. Playing up against the Jets, it's a pretty solid defense. He's got a kind of rough rest of season schedule here. And then Devin Singletary. I mean, he's looked pretty good in terms of the usage and efficiency that Houston has given him. If Houston can pretty much keep pace in terms of like back and forth scoring, or if they can just ridiculously outscore their opponent, Devin Singletary should get a pretty decent amount of usage. But the problem with him is he doesn't get involved into the passing game. So that's pretty much where Dameon Pierce makes all of his money. But yeah, you're pretty much hoping that Devin Singletary gets the high usage with the rushing attempts. Besides that, I mean, you've got Burrow on your bench. You've got Olave on bye, Ferguson, Warren, Chandler, and Freiermuth on your bench. So, also 3 tight ends here, rostering 3 tight ends. I don't know if that's the best option there. I think even with Freiermuth coming back, you could probably drop him. Ferguson and Kittle will probably still be your best bet there. All right. So anything else here? Any other players or any game scripts you want to talk about here, Shawn?
no, that's pretty much it.
All right. Well, that'll be it here for this week 11 preview. Good luck to you both, and we'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.